hell is going on?
I think anyone who can totally explain what's going on probably doesn't understand it. But what we're having today in Parliament is a bill. We had a vote yesterday which we won on a motion that Parliament would take control of the business of the House, because basically what government, what being in power actually means in Parliament, and this is something Boris Johnson needs to get his head around, is actually controlling the business of the House. And we had a vote to control the business of the House, so that today we are voting a bill which will make it impossible to have a no-deal Brexit, if you like. That is all that the bill does. It's a cross-party bill. Labour's supporting it because we have said that we will prioritise absolutely making sure we don't have a no-deal Brexit.
So the big question though for the Labour Party right now is the general election. So will you be, if Boris Johnson, I know it's hard to trust what he says, and you have had reservations as a party about the date, October 14th, and whether he'll stick to it. If he was to accept the bill and let that pass, and in return for a general election, is that something you'd entertain?
I want a general election, and it's about every Labour MP wants a general election. I personally think Boris Johnson is an embarrassment to the country as Prime Minister, and the policies of the last year Tory governments have totally destroyed many of the lives in my constituency and investment in industry, etc. So I want a general election. But what we have said, what I personally have pledged to, and what my party has said, is that we're going to now, so it's not about what we want, it's about what's in the interest of the country, and we are prioritising getting a no-deal Brexit off the table. So this evening I will be voting against Boris Johnson's motion because because we're prioritising getting no deal off the table, and I do not trust Boris Johnson. He has made it absolutely clear that he will use every trick in the book, and many that are not in the book, such as closing down Parliament for 6 weeks in the most important period in our history. He's made that clear, and I have no doubt that he would use a general election in order to force through a no-deal Brexit if he can. So I don't think that's in the interest of the country, and that's not what I'm going to be voting for.
So you definitely will not be voting in favour of a general election anytime soon?
Well, we have to see what you mean by soon. I want one as soon as possible in many ways, but certainly right now, today, I will not be supporting a motion for a general election.
When do you envisage that the general election could take place?
Fortunately, the government's in shambles. I think if we get the extension that we need on Brexit, and then that would be then might be the right time to have a general election. But the fact is that we're looking ahead. We're trying to consider what the different options that Boris Johnson and his hard right Brexiteers will bring forward, and plan our responses accordingly. But it's hard to look more than a few weeks ahead. But what is clear is that we are going to make a no-deal Brexit something that cannot happen. That's what my priority is, and we're doing everything.
In hindsight, when you look back at what cross-party working together yesterday was quite effective.
Yes.
And you look at the numbers, especially, even in Theresa May's time, the numbers were quite small. Do you regret not having? I touted at the time, in 2016, that because the country's voted for Brexit, they should be dealt in a cross-party way. It should have been a cross-party team on the negotiating table. Just like during World War II, there was a war cabinet. I think in hindsight that we wouldn't see a country as divided as it was today if there was a.
I think that having a cross-party cabinet at that time would have been very difficult because of because that's Theresa May, David Cameron, wouldn't have wanted to be in government with Labour. For example, what I do think should have happened is much more discussion and debate about the withdrawal agreement. I mean, one of the reasons we're here is that Theresa May chose to go into sort of pander to the right wing of her own party, rather than inviting in Labour and others to talk with her. I'm not saying a government of national unity then, but I am saying that could have been more cross-party talks, more involvement of other parties, so that we ended up in a position which was more likely to get through Parliament, instead of what she did do, which was wait till 3 months before the deadline and then introduce this bill, which we hadn't seen what was in it, and when we did see it, it was clearly against the
there might have been a Labour break. Just a choice of this
absolutely. And I think one of the things that's happened, since because Theresa May chose to go with her right instead of trying to bring the country together, is the country has become more polarised. So whereas, and I know that constituents of mine who voted Remain would have accepted a Brexit that included a customs union and close working relationship with the European Union, now, because they've seen how sort of extreme the Brexiteers have gone, now they're saying that their only thing that we'll accept now is that we remain. And similarly, Brexiteers who would have accepted a soft Brexit are now saying that they voted for a no-deal Brexit all along, when that certainly wasn't on the ballot paper. So it has polarised the country. But I think, again, that is, Theresa May has the great good fortune, if you like, of being preceded and succeeded by prime ministers who are even worse than she is.